Pnation once used to be called the perfect K-pop company. However, viewpoints from K-pop stans as well as the general public are now changing due to recent controversies. Let's talk about them. Should you audition for them or should you not? Welcome to the series where I explain everything you need to know about K-pop companies. No shorts video this time because Pnation is a new company and they don't have any labels, subsidiaries, divisions, anything like that. So we're gonna get into the first question, which is, do they treat their idols well? There is/was a perception that Pnation gives their idols a lot of freedom and generally treats them better, which is definitely true. But before we analyze all of that, I think we need to preface why this perception came true and why Pnation was labeled as such company. But the reason for this is because most of their well-known idols are established artists. So before they joined Pnation, they were already a soloist, they were already in a group, they were quite popular. You can't treat those idols the same way as you would treat debuted rookies. It's just not how it works, I guess. So obviously they're going to treat those established idols with more freedom and less restrictions placed on them. Yes, of course Pnation has new idols as well that are freshly debuted from Pnation. However, most of you guys know them for, idols like Jessie, Dawn and Hana. So based off of what they saw from these popular idols, a lot of people claim them to be the perfect haven if you want to join a company that allows a lot more freedom, better treatment, things like that. Obviously, I'm not saying that they mistreat their idols, however, it's not like the perfect heaven that you guys imagine it to be. And I feel like now people are starting to realize that. However, let's just say their marketing team did a really good job of promoting Pnation's image as a company and in contrast with other popular companies as well. So if you don't know much about a company, it's really safe to just take the middle ground on that. Anyway, the next question is it likely that Pnation will debut girl groups? So as I kind of mentioned before, the only groups that they've debuted is this one boy group, and although they are new, they're still starting out, so they definitely don't have a lot of freshly debuted groups from Pnation. Not that much. So yeah, they could definitely debut new girl groups because they actually do have a lot of girl trainees as well. Some of them left, but some of them are still definitely in there. And the ones that they showed to the public are obviously the ones that they were trying to debut, so there is definitely a plan for that. However, I cannot tell the future, so I can't tell you 100%. I also don't work at Pnation. Okay, now we're getting into the controversial stuff here, but we're gonna get into a rumor that a lot of people submitted when I asked you to ask any questions about Pnations that you had. So this rumor is PSY doesn't let the artist completely make and decide things about their music and controls most of the things. Guys, welcome to the K-pop industry where CEOs decide what they want to do. Yeah, that's kind of the whole point of a CEO, to lead the entire company as well as manage the artists. If the artists wanted to do whatever they wanted to, they wouldn't be within a label. And again, I'm gonna mention the established artists like Jessie or Hana. Obviously, they get more say in what they want to do because they're more established, and obviously they're gonna say a lot more than what a rookie would say. But still, they don't get to choose everything. Then that's not really how it works. If they wanted to do that, they would just start up their own label and manage themselves there, but that's not really the case here. Even with the statement that PSY controls everything, we'll never really know because we don't know which decision was made by him, which decision was made by other people, which decision was made by the artists. None of that is really up to the public to know, I guess. And this question is actually quite interesting. So it is, do they actually focus on making good music or making hits? Because most of their songs are more so generic and made for TikTok, you could say. And I kind of agree with this because a lot of Pnation songs are more so for public friendly hit kind of songs rather than pure good music. Obviously, it is up to you to define what true quality music may be. However, they definitely do target what could have the most potential on, let's say, TikTok and what could be very trendy at the moment. And they do a good job of that, but if you're looking for more so actually writing deep, meaningful songs, maybe Pnation isn't the place for you. But let's say you like hit songs, then there you go. And obviously, this pattern isn't going to continue for every single artist that's under Pnation, but currently that's kind of what they're into. Okay, now for the million-dollar question. Why did Jessie, Hana, and Dawn leave Pnation? So there are obviously things such as contracts. I feel like I'm saying the most bare minimum answers, but that's the truth, guys. That's kind of like the common sense answer to this. It's so normal for idols to just leave or join companies whatever they'd like. But it's true that they didn't feel completely satisfied under Pnation because there are idols that are in companies for like 10 plus years, even some 20. But rather than analyzing all of them, let's focus on Jessie because she seemed to be like the most popular topic when it came with Pnation because of her very popular show that she had, her contract being like disputed, I guess you could say. There was a lot of messy stuff, so let me just explain all of that. But for Jessie, it's quite clear that she just wanted a new path for her career rather than being mad or, having arguments with Pnations. They specifically said that Psy and Jessie left on good terms. They weren't on bad blood, which people were making it out to be, and that's not really the case though. And I feel like people were over-analyzing this issue because they thought Pnation was a very safe place and everyone would just stay there forever because it's perfect like that. However, that's really not the case, and just because an idol leaves doesn't mean you should jump to the conclusion that they're a bad company, vice versa, things like that. So most all of these, oh my god, the well-known idols of Pnation leave Pnation mess. There was also the incident that took place in one of Psy's concerts. I don't want to get into it because that's not really the topic I'm going to be covering in this video, but you can Google it, I'm sure it pops up for you. But is that incident related to all of these idols leaving is a question that I received. Okay, I took down some notes because I wanted to give you guys a timeline of what happened. So this incident took place on July 30th, and Jessie left Pnation 6th of July, so that doesn't really match up. She clearly left before any of this ever happened. That doesn't really make sense, but even for Jonah and Dawn, I don't think it's directly related because it took place a month later, which means contract would expire, you would have to schedule a meeting with Pnation, and then you would have to sign the contract and also think about the contract and think about what you want to do. All of that is a long process and probably takes over a month. So I'm going to conclude the fact that it probably isn't related, and one incident can't really define their career. It doesn't really impact their image too much, so I don't think that was why they left Pnation. Obviously, this is just purely my viewpoint, so if you think differently, then feel free to think so. However, this is my conclusion that I arrived with. And finally, the question that everyone has been waiting for. Does Pnation accept global trainees or idols? So obviously you can still audition if you're not Korean or Asian, but I think the main question is there a potential for a non-Korean or a non-Asian to pass Pnation if they were given the opportunity, which there are a lot of opportunities as their online audition is currently open, and that's for global people. So you guys know whenever I answer this question, I kind of look at the general statistics. So out of all of their artists, only one of their trainee or almost idol, he almost debuted, but he wanted to cancel it last minute because he was too young. Anyway, he's Japanese, one of their ex-idols is Chinese, and the rest Korean, so probably not the most global company out there. I actually don't know why everyone thinks Pnation is global. I think it's just because of their global audition, but otherwise not really that global. But if you think about it, it makes sense because I've been mentioning these established artists for such a long time now, so we all know that established artists are obviously going to be more Korean, and so because of that there's going to be more Korean idols or Korean trainees under Pnation rather than global trainees. But these are just the facts that I listed out. There's a first for everything, and just because they don't have any global artists right now, I guess you could say global, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be any in the future as well. And like I said, they're still, they're still growing as a company, and they've only been active for what, a couple of years now, so there's definitely more potential for that as well. So audition if you'd like, if you like all the things you're hearing right now, but maybe this will influence you more. So if I were to rank the categories in terms of most favorable to least favorable, it would have to be, drum roll please, and the first one would have to be stage presence. I feel like this is pretty obvious, but let me elaborate a little bit more. There needs to be something unique about yourself that sets you apart from the others. That's really, really important, Pnation. And I'm sure you guys can tell each of their idols, or even just think of their ex-idols, I guess you could say, they all have something really, really special and unique about themselves. So if you have that, maybe try out for Pnation. And along with that, they also really look for a strong impression as well as a strong image. So what does this mean? Let's just say you're thinking about a specific idol under Pnation. Then you would be able to know clearly what their concept is. What do they mainly focus on? So let's say for Jessie, it would be more so like girl crush, confidence, that kind of concept describes her. For, let's say, Hana, she would have to be very, very unique, almost like kitsched, I think is kind of how you pronounce it. Anyway, I feel like that concept really suits her well, and you kind of know all of these because of the strong impression that they make. And this is the same for all of their other idols as well. I feel like that's something that you need to notice. And then the next one would have to be rap. Rap is really, really important in Pnation for some reason. I feel like all of the idols there generally can rap, and that's not really common within companies. Usually they either fixate on one of the three big categories. And then the next one would have to be personality. I think I'm just gonna add that one permanently because after JYP I realized that personality is also something that companies look for. So that's under there, and I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. And then the next one would have to be dance. Dance is quite important, but it's not like the most important factor. I feel like the idols under Pnation aren't necessarily known for their dancing skills, but it's still an important factor to have. And then under that would be vocals, and then under that would be visuals, but those two are closely put together because they don't matter as much in Pnation. So that is everything for Pnation. If you would like me to do this video on any other companies, then please let me know down below. For reference, I've done Hype, SM, JYP, YG, now Pnation, and I've also done Fantagio in the past, so other than that, if you want to see anything else, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video. What in the... Bye!